Week off is so nice.
Are we on? Are we on?
We're on.
Are we live? Okay.
We're live.
All right.
I kind of feel like a loser when I don't have a podcast to shoot.
I feel that way about you too, but regardless of the podcast.
Regardless of whether we have a podcast or not. I'm serious, man. We were there and I don't really have anything going on. I was even looking at some of the regional stuff. I was like, man, I'll do something. There really wasn't much MMA last week.
Oh, that's where you're wrong.
There's BKFC.
Cage Warriors. Yeah, BKFC Mexico. I had an amazing week last week. I was in California, going through a breakup in California. And
wait, so do we still reference your Brazilian?
I mean, I'm going to have to replace her somehow. So if you guys know a Brazilian woman.
No, not Brazilian. We got to go different now. We got to go
Scottish or something.
Argentinian.
Oh. Eileen Perez.
Slovakia.
You know what? My Austrian friends, they always told me I need a Balkan woman. They said Balkan women are the best women. They're very beautiful. Hey. The Albanians, they're very nice.
Yeah, very nice. They're crazy. You're going to get stabbed a couple of times.
I don't know if I've ever been with a girl that's not crazy so far.
I think that says more about the source.
Yeah, it's definitely me. Not them, it's
says
me.
More about you than them.
At least this one didn't like stab me in my sleep and like rob my entire house.
Man, I wish she had.
Me too. It'd be a great story.
Insurance, yeah, it's just a better. It's all about the story. That's what Corrales says. He's like, it's all about the story.
Amen.
It's all about the story. But yeah, I was bored. I'm happy to do this. We're late. You weren't feeling great yesterday.
Yeah, I was driving back and emotionally, no, I'm just kidding, torn up. But no, I was in California betting on Cage Warriors and kind of like I had myself a nice little week, and it's tough sometimes when I don't have like my full access. People in other states don't understand, like when you have 2 offshore accounts and that's all you're running with is very tough. We don't realize how lucky we have it here. I don't have DraftKings or Bet365 or any of those anymore. I'm like limited so heavily. But even having FanDuel is just like, oh my God, it's just a huge, huge tool.
Just the user interfaces on FanDuel and DraftKings.
The little click when you press yes.
Yeah. And you can just deposit stuff. We were just talking about that a minute ago. You can like, oh, let me just put in my card or bank account and Apple Pay. You know, I mean, you could just do that. It's just easy. Whereas offshore stuff, you know, Bovada, Bet Online, it's like, well, all right.
Crypto.
Yeah, let me send a carrier pigeon.
Well, that's what I had to do. I actually got a little nervous because my girlfriend, my ex-girlfriend, was betting on that account. And I had a phone number that was not either one of our phone numbers somehow. And they let me switch it and withdraw all the money in like 30 minutes. It was $28,000 they let me take out that quickly. I was like, okay.
Good on them.
But you know what's funny is like these legal sports books, they're hilarious. Like in the lead up to me winning the $1 million, right? So the week before I had actually won $100,000 and it was on a pass post. So right, betting on the stuff that had already happened. So $100,000 on that alone. And they'll give me like like $1,000 bonus bets, and they'll give me crazy referral programs. They'll send me AirPods, and they just keep sending me all this stuff, free bets every week. It's like they're just a glutton for punishment, and I would just use it to punish them. They kept giving me all this stuff. And so right now with FanDuel, I've been doing really well on FanDuel, and every day I wake up, my host is sending me a $500 free bet. Hey, B, thinking of you. Here's a $300 free bet. And I'm like, this guy has no idea what's about to happen.
What's your favorite book these days? Because I know it changes, it varies, they limit, your favorite book might be DraftKings, but they limit you to $4, so it's not your favorite book
yeah, anymore. That's the thing. Is like I've been limited.
What are you using now these days? Mostly.
Yeah, I pretty much just use Bet Online and FanDuel. Those are the only 2 I really use. I might have to start using Bovada a lot more. Their limits on bare knuckle was insane. Like I could get down like $2,000 per bare knuckle fight. Pretty nice.
Bovada, you're saying, or Bet Online?
Yeah, Bovada. Bet Online it's the same. It's like a $500 max win, which is frustrating. You get the most lines and you can do a lot of good stuff with it, but they don't let you parlay certain things and the $500 max and rebets and all that stuff. Anyways, but for me, just because of access, like if I had my choice, I would use DraftKings. I think DraftKings is great. They're, stale, slow lines. You can smash everything together. But now I just have FanDuel. Okay. They let me get down. Like you look at so this is what was kind of funny is while DraftKings was my main book and I was punishing them on bare knuckle every week, on FanDuel, I would see a line every once in a while. I just throw some stupid money at it. And so basically I seasoned that bad boy for like a year and a half, 2 years of them just going, this guy sucks. He's horrible. He's a horrible gambler. And now that I'm done with DraftKings and FanDuel's my main book, like I'm under the radar. It's pretty nice.
Okay,
so I can get down some limits.
What do we have going on? Anything? I mean, we've got tons of fights coming up. We've got just on our end. What Tracy has a fight booked.
Yep, Miranda Maverick.
Yep, Miranda Maverick.
Selling pickles.
KG has a fight in Saudi Arabia again. I've never been to Saudi Arabia in my life, and I have to go there twice in like 6 months.
He does look like an Arab if you like squint a little bit.
Okay.
If you put a little turban on him, you could.
Yeah, if you let him grow his beard out a little bit, you won't know. Me, I don't think I can pass still. Since the last time I've been there, I don't think anything's changed.
I didn't realize that Adam Fuggett's fighting in like 2 weeks.
Yeah, June 15th.
And who is he fighting again?
He is fighting.
It was a notable name.
The guy that fought Jason Witt knocked him out. The kid from Contender Series that got popped. What the hell is his name? You know what I'm talking about.
Well, now I'm gonna have to look.
Asian kid from Extreme Couture Vegas.
No, I remembered the name at the time, but now, geez, I cannot remember.
Yeah, I don't know why we're dumb right here. But Dan Moret has a fight coming up as well. He's fighting one of the PFL.
Oh, Josh Quinlan. You called him Asian, but I don't really like think of him as like Asian.
But you know, he's all right. So
Quinlan,
American,
okay,
Asian American.
Interesting fight. Yeah.
Man, Fugget looks so good. He's still a massive human too. Gabe and him were doing some rounds, just moving around, flowing, nothing like KG rounds. And I look, and Gabe to me is a bigger human. You know, not massive or anything, but you're like, okay, he's going with Fugit, just like disappeared. If it was like, if they would rotate a certain way, he's just gone. Like Fugit's just.
Wait, is this at 55, his fight?
No, 70.
Oh, 70. Okay. I was
he's
like,
just a massive human. But he looks good. The team's doing well. A lot of stuff. So
yeah, I'm very excited. Some cool things coming up. I haven't been here since my head split. It was funny. We got a lot of comments on that stuff. Like my haircut was all bad. Guys, I had like glue in my hair. I couldn't like put my hair down. Like it was bad. I kept ripping that glue out, and every time I would rip it, I was like, oh, my skin is coming back open. And I was sparring like 3 days after the cut. And
did it ever open back up?
No, it's good. Okay. I'm healed up. Feels like a little bump in there still, but no, I'm good.
Yeah, that's it. Let's get going. Let's talk 302. It's 302, right? We're talking 302?
Yeah.
I never know the numbers. I know who's fighting, but I don't know the numbers. All right, we got 302. I'm going to go, we're on fightchalk.com, reading odds. Do you want to pull up your phone so you can do make sure we're doing the right order on Tapology?
Okay.
So you call the fights. We're missing a producer today. The guy can't even show up 3 days.
Lazy.
He was like, oh, I can't make it because I'm out of town. And then
he's in California not getting broken up with.
For like graduations and stuff. So anyway, man, we've got Andre Lima, Mitch Raposo. The lines for the most part, we're looking at minus 240 for Andre Lima and plus 205 for Mitch Raposo. I want to go on this because I think you've said it before. I think it was Mitch Raposo. Might have been a different guy.
Well, he's never fought in the UFC, and this is a UFC show.
No, but wasn't it? He fought in Contender.
Yeah, he did fight in Contender.
Yeah, I thought it was Contender. But anyway.
You don't do Contender shows. Me and Big Bird do Contender shows.
I've seen Contender.
Once. Where's your MAGA hat? Your Contender MAGA hat?
Oh yeah, I do. Where is my Contender MAGA hat? Do you like Mitch Raposo?
I've never met him, but
as a fighter,
he's okay. He's really short. I'm not a huge fan of his game, although I see the potential.
Then I must be thinking about somebody else because the person whoever I was thinking Mitch Raposo was lost on Contender, but you were big on him. And you're like, oh, he beat so-and-so and he's good. And so anyway, I thought you were kind of big on Mitch Raposo.
No.
Okay. Thing with Mitch Raposo is I don't know what he's actually good at. He does. So there's kind of a couple.
He's good at beating up old guys.
And guys with 1-7 records.
Yeah.
So he's a complete can crusher. Like his quality of opponents is not great. And we've noticed in the shows, in the non-American shows, that doesn't seem to matter as much because these guys have 20 fights where they're crushing cans. But in America, where you're beating 6 or 7 people who are cans, I just don't know if it's the same. Anyway, maybe it is. Maybe American cans are built different than European cans or something. I don't know. But like you see a lot of guys who know how to fight and they do a lot of stuff really well, but they don't know how to mix in the gray areas. They don't punch off the break. They're not feinting. They're not putting little like jabs or low kicks out there to draw people in and doing stuff. They fight well, but they don't know how to mix the gray area. Whereas Raposo does all of the gray area. He's feinting and he's moving and he looks the part and everything looks really good. And you're like, oh, this motherfucker's solid. He's about to do something any minute now. Any minute now. Any minute now. And he just keeps gray area and doesn't actually fight. Like, I don't know. I mean, the best thing I've seen him do is maybe against Hadley is take him down toward the end of the round. But he just does a lot of like feinting and moving and like TJ Dillashaw stance switching and going. But I just don't feel like he's ever out there to hurt somebody, to take him down, to really beat him up. He went life and death 4th round against a guy with a 500 record in his last fight. And then on the other side of that, we have Lima, who's he'll fade. He'll slow down a little bit. He will get taken down a little bit too, but he fights. Like he fights. He'll get taken down. He'll use his jiu-jitsu to get back up. He wiggles. His striking is great. I mean, really good, solid striking. I almost worry about his pressure a little too much because I think Raposo might actually be able to level change and go.
But then Raposo's one of those guys. What's he going to do after he level changes?
Oh,
then
yeah,
what?
he just sits there in the guard and then watches people stand back up.
He's not a submission guy.
Yeah.
He's not a wrestler.
So
we were actually doing that today. You were having Kelvin do a little extra work after practice, and the guy that you had going with him is like a wrestler, and Kelvin just kept standing right up, and he was sparring with Fugit, and Fugit's like a good jiu-jitsu guy, and it's just like completely different things. Like he could not hold Kelvin down to save his life, and then a good jiu-jitsu guy can. It's just so different. Yep. And Raposo is so short and stocky and small that like he just doesn't have the little intricacies of jiu-jitsu to hold somebody down. And actually what was surprising about Lima in his last fight is he was game to stand up. He was like, no, I'm gonna get up.
And he used omoplata, some triangle attempts, some leg lock. I mean, he was like active underneath him.
Yeah.
So I really like Lima here. I like him inside the distance. Again, you just never know how. There's always a million ways things can play out. If Raposo wins, the only way that I think he could win is by stealing minutes and moments on some takedowns. I can't fathom that happens, but I'm just kind of playing the other side of the fence. Like that's the only thing that I could see. And that's a 1% chance on it. But man, I like Lima here. And I'm surprised to actually see the odds as close as they are.
I actually kind of thought the same thing. And now that you just said it, like I'm thinking about that same way as like Raposo. How does he like go out and win this fight? He fights constantly on the back foot. Actually, looking at his record, I was kind of like, oh man, maybe this dude has fought some good guys since he left Contender Series. And I pinpointed this guy, Flavio Carvalho. And I was like, okay, Flavio Carvalho, that sounds immigrant enough. And he's got a 7-4 record, like not too bad. And then I clicked the tape of Flavio Carvalho. That was brutal. Like, how does that guy have a single win, let alone 7?
Bad. And Raposo, just talking about the odds really quickly, I'm looking at one point he was minus 150 or plus 155. So like I don't know how at any point he was that
close. Yeah.
Close.
Because he fights on the back foot, which is already a horrible thing, just scoring wise. Lima, he does pressure, but he kind of stays at distance. Kind of like Talbot. You were saying like Talbot does pressure, but he's staying right at the end of the punches.
He's waiting for you to mess up.
Yep. And Lima's reaction time is incredible. I mean, the dude's got clean punches. I rate Severino 10 times higher than Raposo.
Oh yeah.
Severino was legit very, very good. Yeah, I don't see a way that Lima doesn't win. I think where everybody's going to get trapped is inside the distance or versus decision. I actually think this is probably going to go to a decision.
You think so?
I think Raposo is not the prospect that he had been touted for so long, but I think maybe he's tough enough to survive. He can move and do a lot of things and wrestle when he needs to, and he can gut out probably 15 minutes of a patient striker in Lima. It's not like Lima, every punch is to try to kill you and he's throwing flying knees. Like, he is patient. He's pinpoint, but he's patient. So I think Raposo can survive. I like Lima.
I actually think I like Lima by submission. We watched what Hadley did, but Lima's got such good trips and like clinch throwy type of stuff that I could see him getting Raposo off balance and just jumping on him right there.
I think it's the Brazilian like ego that's going to make him want to just knock him out.
Just swing. Yeah. I could see that. All right, next up we've got Jocelyn Edwards versus Eileen Perez. Edwards is plus 155 and Perez is minus 180.
Yeah, I wish I got a better Edwards number. I haven't bet it yet. I was just a little late to the party. Everyone had the time off. I was doing Cage Warriors and other stuff, and then everyone else was jumping on the UFC. That number on Edwards was great. I think she is tall. She's athletic. Her striking is decent. She's put volume. She's looked much improved over the last few years. She's been a constant gravy train as far as an underdog. I bet Lucy Pudilova against her, and that was crushing and heartbreaking. But Pudilova is a good offensive grappler. The way that she wrestles and then cuts corners, and she's so long, just like Edwards. And that is a huge benefit in itself. Perez is very short, kind of frumpy. She wrestles hard, but then you saw in that third round against Pudilova when she couldn't get it, she just hit a brick wall and then just fell on her back. And Pudilova is not the greatest takedown defense-wise either. And then on the feet, I think Edwards has longer range tools, kind of nice volume. She just seems like a more comfortable striker. Honestly, I think I like Edwards here by a fair bit. Pudilova is cutting corners where Perez kind of just shoots straight through things. Then if it doesn't work for her, she's like, all right, let me reset and try running at you all over again. So give me Edwards on this one. I like that one.
It's funny, pre-tape and even watching tape, I was thinking Edwards. Like I was like, yep, she's just bigger, athletic. I think Perez is just not great. And so I was thinking that. But then watching Perez, like outside of the cardio issues in round 3, she can actually wrestle. And she's actually, so the thing is with Edwards, she's going against girls who can't wrestle and are shooting bad shots. And Edwards is athletic enough to just, defend the way that she is with her hips. And, she's decent at defense.
I think she's getting better.
She's getting a lot better. But then if you watch Perez, man, I forget which fight it was. She's shooting, didn't get it, turned the corner, then redirected hard back the other way. And I was like, oh,
that was against Pudilova. That was nice.
Yeah, really, there's some nice wrestling exchanges in there. And then her ground and pound was great. Like she was really beating Pudilova quite a bit. I mean, she was battering her. And of course she got tired, whatever. Then on the Edwards side, and actually even before I get to Edwards standing, the thing with Edwards is she's such a counter puncher that she just stands there and waits, throws a front kick, waits for people to mess up, counters back, but she's never really like hurting people. And even her takedowns are really other people going for takedowns, and she just floats and ends up on top.
Not bad. That's kind of what happened, and Perez ended up on her back.
Yeah, she just is the best at doing enough to make them screw up. And Eileen's not amazing, but she'll throw volume. And the UFC wants her to win, I would assume. Like that's kind of
usually Edwards is fed to the people that they want
to win. And just grappling, I think Perez wins as long as she just doesn't get so out athleticism that she just can't, do anything with her. I like Perez here.
All right, fair enough.
Moving on. Do you got Mickey Gall, Basil Halfz?
Yeah, I'm still stuck on Raposo's poor record. Okay, Mickey Gall and Basil Halfz.
All right, Halfz minus 350. Gall is plus 285.
I already played Mickey Gall. I played Mickey Gall when the line came out at plus 350. I don't know if the number is still pretty juicy. Maybe I'm alone on this. I'm a Mickey Gall truther. I always have been a Mickey Gall truther. He got such a bad rap because he fought CM Punk, and I'm like, he's not the worst ever. Like he's not the worst ever. He's got a nice jab. He's been at Killcliff for a long time. He's good jiu-jitsu guy, good grappling. Basil is good, and a lot of people are like, well, they're throwing him a bone for coming in to fight JDM on short notice, which sure, maybe, yeah.
But isn't Gall also? This is in New York, right?
Yeah.
And isn't Gall a New York City kid?
Yeah,
New Jersey.
Yeah. He is, and so I guess Basil's from Philly, so he's not from too far away.
I guess so. I guess.
Yeah, it's not like, they're flying him in to lose or anything like that. But I just think the number's just too big. What is Basil's game? How can he separate that far? Outside of Mickey cardio dying or getting chinned, which, both of those are very possible. Basil pre-UFC didn't have insane cardio. I think a lot of the line is baked into recency bias. And I think Mickey Gall is better than a lot of people give him credit for. I really do. these small moments, if they just change just a little bit, I think the course of his UFC career is a lot different. I love who's our guy at Kill Cliff, the coach, Henry Hooft.
Sean, oh, okay.
Yeah, and Sean Soriano, Henry Hooft. I love all those guys, so I trust I trust him to lead Mickey Gall to the promised land.
Okay. It's funny talking about the quick version is I think it's a pretty much a coin flip fight.
Wow.
Like in terms of like skill and who wins. Then that said, with Gall being such a dog, it's almost like you got to take those odds at that.
Yeah, if you line it that closely.
Yeah. If it was minus 110 plus one, minus 110 plus 110, whatever. Who cares? Do you bet it? But I think it really is a close fight. I said this, I did a quick write up just on stuff because we didn't get to film yesterday. And so I put some stuff on the Patreon. I said, I think I like Basil Halfz here, but I'm not like wild about it. Gosh, Gall is tough and he does a lot of stuff well. He's actually he's almost Jocelyn Edwards to me of a man. Like he'll kind of float the position,
Okay.
let people screw up, end up on top, let him do stuff, run into stuff. And he's not, but he just doesn't do a lot that I think is good. And he reaches with his punches. He doesn't like to get hit so much. He's tough as shit.
Maybe he'll come out better now. 2 years to get better.
I know he absolutely might. Has it been 2 years? Do we know why it's been 2 year layoff? Injuries or?
I don't know. Probably just embarrassed. I don't know.
But the thing was, so often people shoot on him and he will pull guillotine or just end up on the bottom. And against Halfz, like he can wrestle. He's strong as shit. He knows jiu-jitsu. I mean, like he's not getting submitted by Gordon Ryan. He's losing by points in jiu-jitsu matches. Like he can do some stuff.
This fight is probably going to be the most infuriating fight because I imagine it's going to go like this. I imagine Mickey Gall is going to be a value loser. There's probably going to be 100 times in this fight where like, Mickey, if you just do this, you can win this fight. And then he'll find a way to lose it.
Yep.
And I'll be incredibly frustrated. Like, but I got good value on it.
No, that's exactly what I think is that he's going to do a lot of stuff well. But watching Evan Cutts fight with Basil, like Basil didn't look great right off the, kind of first few minutes. And then if you actually watch him, he's just kind of standing there and just like covering and not doing a ton, which I didn't hate. And then of course he's mixing things in.
Can I tell you something about Evan Cutts?
Oh yeah, what do we got?
So he was the main event at the Peak Fighting, which I was at a few weeks ago.
Oh, okay.
He was fighting Brian Foster. You know Brian Foster, old school guy.
Yep.
And he showed up to the weigh-ins, like the weigh-in day, not ceremonial weigh-ins. Like this is weigh-ins in the back of the hotel. Like you just step on the scale, commission writes it down, and then you go do the media stuff. That dude showed up at like 10 a.m. in a suit and did not take the suit off until like 10 p.m. when he went back to his room. The dude was like undressing his suit to like weigh in on that, put the suit back on, and it wasn't like a clean looking suit. And I'm kind of thinking
frumpy.
Like, it didn't fit him at all. Like he was sitting down and the pants were like up to here and it was all like crumpled. It just didn't look good at all. Like, but he refused to take the suit off. And that was like his gimmick was like, it's a suit. And I'm just kind of thinking to myself, like, you're not Conor McGregor fighting for millions of dollars. You're getting paid $500 to fight a washed guy who's literally telling you he's going to get his ass kicked in the state. And you're wearing a suit this whole time. Like, dude, he's a little missing a few things.
Super random.
Yeah, missing a few things.
Anyway, I like Basil here. I think he's tough enough. And actually, he showed some promise standing with JDM.
He looked good.
The spinning elbows and back fists. And he looked good enough. And I think he gets a win.
Well, dang, you should have just played him then. It's not a coin flip for you.
Man, I'm actually happy that we've got a few of these guys on the card because they've all fought each other. Morono, Nico Price, Phil Rowe, Jake Matthews, and Randy Brown, like that whole crew of people, like they've all kind of fought each other and done stuff and this and that. Next up, we have Alex Morono and Nico Price. Morono's minus 230, Price is plus 195. I was looking at Nico Price fights before I got to Morono on this.
Okay.
And, Nico, he's got some wins and he's done some stuff, and he's been in the UFC for a long time. Watching him fight Phil Rowe, I was like, how does this guy ever want to fight? Like,
Oh, it's unbelievable.
it's like he is so, his punches.
Do it. All right. The belt beats are the Pantoja. I'm not sure which one yet.
But it was even worse because, like, all right, so they swim with their head down and they're just bad swimmers. He swims and he's taking breaths on both sides. He's like left hand and then he throws the right hand and he's over here. Like he is double breathing on his.
He's hitting some breaststrokes, some butterflies.
Yeah. I'm like, what the hell is going on here? And he's just a tough son of a bitch who won't die. But man, on a technical level, I'm like, how are we here? I mean, wasn't it him who knocked out Randy Brown from the bottom?
Yeah.
Like, and Randy Brown is good and Nico Price is not good. And the dude is just like a winner. He just will find a way to win some of these fights. Then on the other side, we have Alex Morono. And every time, go through and watch all the Alex Morono fights. What do they talk about? Every single time.
His head? No, I'm just kidding. The way that he watches film and stuff like that? Yeah.
He watches film. He's a student of the game, student of the game, student of the game. Well, somebody better have this motherfucker watch some boxing or any other UFC fight or any other fight on the planet. Because his arms, he thinks he's a bird and he's flying. Because his arms are out so wide and he is so upright and like moving. I'm like.
And the most hilarious part is he's the most technical one in this fight.
Times a million.
Times a million.
Times a million. His fight IQ, his cardio, his everything. Like he is the most technical person in the cage. With the referee is probably better than both of them, especially if it's Herb. But man, so I like Morono here. It could go a million ways.
I don't think it can.
Well, no, I mean, like he could submit him because if Nico shoots and does something dumb, he could knock him out. He could decision him. I wouldn't play a prop on it. I like Morono. I think minus 230 is pretty much a gift. Morono is only losing to the top 10.
You know he beat Morono though before.
Oh, I know. And
sad.
Morono's gotten better though. He's become a better fighter, and Price has become a worse fighter.
Okay, I totally agree. Like I see people are trying to make cases for Nico Price. I can't see it. And you know what's funny is I pick against Morono every fight. So maybe this is the fight. This is the fight. Now you got to go bet Nico Price because I'm picking Morono. I think Morono is going to murder him. Morono, for everything that he is dangerous. Like the second Court started grappling with him and he locked on the guillotine, like you touch that guy and he's throwing up submissions. He's dangerous. He can be. His striking is educated and is decent for how it looks and his body and everything like that. But you're right. He's not that old either. He's not like 40, 50 years old. Nico Price. Yeah, Nico Price looks like someone shot both of his knees out with a sawed-off shotgun.
The only thing Nico Price that actually worries me in this fight is, one is just crazy. He loves the chaos. So when the chaos is going, anything can happen. So you know that. But
yeah, maybe.
He has a long reach. I don't know what it is, but his reach is like 76, 77, 78, something freakishly long for his height.
Good. Maybe you can go to the circus after this fight.
Maybe. Nah, I like Morono here.
Inside the distance for me. Nico's literally someone blew both of his kneecaps off. He's barely going to be able to make it into the cage. And I'm sure he's a nice guy. You know, we don't have anything bad to say.
They said he had 6 kids. Like,
good for him.
Like,
that's not the only thing that's long, huh?
I know. We've got Jake Matthews, who I think is still practicing Muslim.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Okay, nice.
Which the only thing, not that there's anything wrong with that. I just find it strange that a white guy from Australia is practicing Islam. I just find that.
Who are you to judge?
I'm nobody to judge. It just seems like a random thing.
I told you my favorite albino white rapper from Minnesota moved to Istanbul, Turkey, and is devout.
Yep, and I was devout. It's crazy. I mean, we see, we have an Ethiopian Jewish guy at the gym from Israel.
What the hell is he?
Yeah. And so it's just not what you expect. It's all fine. But, you just like, have you ever, when I lived in Charleston, South Carolina for a couple of years.
Oh, that's where Charlemagne's from. Charlemagne the God? You know Charlemagne the God? You're wearing these Nike Jordans. Oh, okay.
I'm just kidding. But, and I remember the first time I saw, there was like a Asian guy and he had a Southern accent.
Gross.
And it just threw me off. It was just a random thing. I was like, whoa. Just not what I expect. It's all fine, but it's not what you expect. So anyway, he's fighting Phil Rowe. Fresh
Well,
Prince.
sorry, what was that bit? Did you ever watch Key and Peele back in the day?
Oh, I love Key and Peele.
That was so funny. And then they did the talk show, and it was like Jamal and Jamal and Jose. They're like, it's Jamal and Jose. And they look at the camera, and one was Mexican, one was black. And he goes, I'm Jose. And it was the black guy. And I'm Jamal. You racist piece of shit.
Yeah, like just something like that. Like it's just not what you expect.
Hey, we do need to give a shout out because I know one of those people specifically.
Who?
There's a guy on Twitter. He's got one of the worst Twitter accounts, Wrestle Jamia, Irish Korean.
Whoa.
I change his Asian part every day. Sometimes it's Japanese. I think he's actually said he's Filipino, but he's from Ireland.
See, it just throws you off.
It throws you off.
You expect a certain thing, and when it doesn't happen, you're like, oh.
But he does keep with the Asian
expected.
tradition. He speaks very quietly.
Oh.
Very
He
quiet.
doesn't go the Irish loud. He goes the Asian quiet.
Yeah.
Okay. Fresh Prince. Do you have thoughts on this first? You want me to go?
Yeah, I bet pretty big on this fight.
Okay, who'd you bet?
I bet Matthews.
Okay.
I think
Tell me
Matthews. Well, Phil Rowe is super cool. I think we've talked about this a few times. He used to live in Arizona. He used to train and live out here.
You always reference that, and I had no idea
Yeah, this was before your time.
before. Yeah.
Yeah, this was way before your time. No, he used to train with Tanquinho out here. He was a blue belt. He was losing every tournament. He fought Ali Young, Roberto
Yep,
Ali
I know
Young,
that.
and he was kind of considered like a tomato can. And then he moved to Fusion XL and started training with those guys and just like kind of like chilling and getting better. He's fine. He can box a little bit and he moves. My thing with him is one, I don't think he's got incredible power. Matthews got dropped by Semmelsberger, who that's pretty much all he has is great power. So he doesn't have insane one-shot power. He's kind of war of attrition. His strength of schedule has been against the worst guys you can possibly come up with. And even in those fights, he's going super, super close. The biggest thing is he's just slow. You know me, I fantasize about some black boxers. I love black boxers. Like I got like
We'll talk about Randy Brown later on the show.
Okay, all right. Exactly. Randy Brown's fast as shit. Phil Rowe like kind of does the shoulder roll and kind of the move, and then he's like, I guess I just put it like this. I think Jake Matthews boxing actually pretty decent. Like he does, kind of the shoulder rolls and he rolls underneath, he counters over the top. I think his boxing is actually pretty good. He's a black belt in jiu-jitsu. The few times we've seen his grappling, it's been decent. Like I like his grappling. I think it's better than Phil Rowe's. I think he can take Phil Rowe down. I think he could do a top game if he wants to. Standing, I give him the volume edge. I give him the physicality edge. I just think he's a better fighter. I think really where this is going for me, my conspiracy brain, read more books.
Oh, okay. I'm happy about a conspiracy.
He's going to finish Phil Rowe.
Okay.
And then he's going to be on the Perth card in Australia.
Oh, I like that.
This is just one quick warm up, and then he's going to go.
Man, I think I'll be on the Perth card in Australia.
Oh, yeah? Why is that?
And I am not looking forward to it because people don't realize, like LA to, I did LA to Melbourne, and that was 14 and a half hours straight. Like, I'll probably go to Sydney, so it's probably a 2 hour less flight. But Sydney to Perth, that's the length of the United States. People don't realize that's a 4.5, 5 hour flight. Like, God, I can't do this. I'm too old for these flights, man.
Well, I hope I get the invite. Then we can shoot the podcast on the plane.
Oh my gosh. You mean shoot my brains on the plane? Like
either one. We can do it on camera. It'll make for way more viewers.
Gosh, I know it'll get more views than the 3,000 views that you guys get and think that you know something. My issue with Phil Rowe is he's actually an okay enough striker.
He's good everywhere. He's
an
fine everywhere.
okay enough jiu-jitsu guy. He's an okay enough fighter. That dude thinks he is the world champion of everything. And
he has thought that since he was a blue belt losing local tournaments here.
Dude, you see him and he just thinks he is that guy, and then he's just getting hit. And then he's getting taken down. And then he tries to go like super tricky jiu-jitsu and is just like stuffed out. It's like, dude, you're not the guy that you think you are. You got to have some like delusions as a fighter. You've got to just think that you're the guy.
But not that far.
But his are pretty deep. He is as long as can be and will just stay in the pocket, shelled up, has no idea how to use his range, how to use his jab. His cardio kind of sucks.
That was the part that was most alarming to me. What was it in the third round of whatever fight? It was against Nico Price.
And then he just caught him with it. Nico. Well, first of all, Phil Rowe like shot and pulled guard, and then Nico tried to kill him and just gassed himself out. Like Nico was,
but Phil got up and he was like,
yeah, he was dying.
Crazy.
But
is that going to happen to Jake Matthews? The dude's winning 3rd rounds.
Yeah, I don't think Jake Matthews is going to death gas. He's got a beautiful check hook. My only issue with Jake Matthews is he tends to. The issue here, my big issue is a lot of times you don't know what Matthews is going to show up. And a lot of times he sits back and lets these other people take the fight to him. And then he's very willing to allow other people to fight their fight and try to fight them at the fight that they are bringing.
But Phil wants to counterpunch. So what fight is he going to take to Jake Matthews?
No, I don't think he's going to win. It's just sometimes like these like Matthews, like we'll get to Sean Strickland later. There's kind of the two versions of him in your face pressing to break you or sitting back and not.
I get what you're saying. And I guess here's the biggest thing for me. This is a decently close line. I tipped it on whatever we fucking run at -160. And I get it as juice. It's whatever. I like the bet. For me, I just think he's levels above Phil Rowe, and not that Phil Rowe's bad, not that Phil Rowe can't win. I like that spot. I think he does a lot more. I'll put it like this. Phil Rowe lost a split decision to the corpse of Neil Magny, who's striking these days is as slow as possible, can't really wrestle, can't really do anything. He lost whether you agree with the decision or not. Honestly, I could never judge that fight. I kept mixing them. I'm not racist.
It was the most boring fight ever. They just pushed each other on the fence.
Back and forth.
There was no I mean, it was a horrible.
But he
fight.
lost that to the corpse of Neil Magny.
Yep.
Now, and
he's
then
beating Orion Cosey. He's beating Witt. Like, he is not beating
And then Matthews had a lot of good moments against a super prospect in Michael Morales. Yeah. You know, like, I just think it's a huge, huge difference there, just in level and pedigree. And, you know, he's been in the UFC for 10 years. I just, you know, you go life and death with that corpse versus a guy going pretty close fight with a super prospect. I mean, give me that guy.
All right. Moving along. What do we got? Joe Selecki plus 385, Grant Dawson minus 510.
Jesus Christ, that line blew out. I think it should have blown out. I think this is not a close fight. I think that Dawson, he's a grinder. He's a better wrestler. He's going to get on top and beat up Joe Selecki. Selecki's good. He's a little crafty and tricky against guys that don't have grappling like that.
Yeah.
So there's not much for me to say here. 5'10's getting a little insane. I wish I jumped on it early.
Now, do you think, does Dawson death gas?
No.
Okay.
I think Dawson's at he's drinking the ATT water.
Yeah. I don't think he does, but that would be my only concern is, like, we've seen Selecki, who has good cardio, kind of take it to Miller.
No, Selecki does not have good cardio.
Well, better than like a Miller type where he's willing to push it and to go. And
that's Selecki's thing, because I bet Selecki a lot, and he always gets tired round 3.
Okay.
He goes so good and gets backs really, really well and does really good early on, good boxing, and then later round 2 and round 3, he just like, all right.
I actually said this on the write-up. The only way I see Selecki winning is if he's just swinging haymakers and can clip Dawson.
Yeah, good luck.
You know, and I actually think that's his best path to victory, considering he's not – I don't think he's going to be overly concerned with Grant Dawson's grappling, even though I think he should be. And I think he's got to swing to try and catch that chin.
That's not his game either.
No, I know.
I agree with you. That is his only path. But Selecki wants to, in his mind, he wants to be this really clean, beautiful, technical guy. And then he gets out dogged by guys like Grant Dawson and stuff like that. So
we see the Jared Gordons, things like that. Just, I think Dawson's grappling is so much better than Selecki's. And I think his chain wrestling, especially in MMA, and then immediately jumps on the back, that I think he can ride out a 3-round.
It is an interesting matchup, just grapplers like that, though. It is interesting.
All right. Cesar Almeida, Roman Kopylov. Cesar is minus 122 and Kopylov is plus 102.
That's crazy. This line flipped. I think the only 2 bets that I put in when the lines came out was Cesar and Mickey Gall. So I got Gall at plus 350 and I got Cesar at plus 157. I'm happy with both those bets. I'll probably add some Cesar if I'm being honest. It's crazy the line did flip though. Cesar is good, but he's untested, especially against a striker. But for me, I got plus 157. That's pretty nice. For me, it literally just boils down to this. I love Kopylov as much as the next guy. I think that guy makes incredible reads. Like the way that he throws his liver kick on Puno was insane. Like there's no arc on it. He's just right in there, whips it just fast. Pardon me. I love a lot of the stuff he does. He's always making reads. He's doing really, really well. But he does fight close in a lot of these fights. Even when he's winning, he fights really close. And at the end of the day, for me, it comes down to he got stopped by Carl Roberson, and I don't know if Carl's won a fight since that fight.
Yeah, but if we're judging everyone by all of their losses, like how do we do that? You got to judge them by their recent fights. And
I get it.
He has looked infinitely better since that.
Yeah, but has he though? Because that was a stand-up fight. The rest of the fights is like, it's grappling. It's against Puno, who's gassing and then just staring at him. Those are very much different fights. That's the one guy you can look at, and he's the most similar to Caesar as far as I'm just going to come out and kickbox. And his leg.
He's also a little more wild and like he's not as calm and reserved as Caesar is.
I think this is Caesar's fight to win. I mean, you've had a lot more time and experience with Caesar than any of us. I bet Budka huge against Caesar, and he lost the first round and then came out and killed him. Now we get to see him in his own element, a guy that's not going to grapple. And actually, ironically, I don't know if that's better or worse for him. It's almost probably better at this point. Guys come try to grapple him. He just counter wrestles and defends, and then gets up and knocks him out.
I like Kopylov here, and I was big on Caesar in the Budka fight.
Yeah.
Like I was like, nope, he's not going to do it. The thing is that Kopylov, first of all, he's so fast. Like he is legitimately has some really fast hands, and he moves a lot, and he moves really well. And I think Caesar has that Muay Thai style, and he's going to be there ready and waiting for a good old-fashioned Muay Thai fight.
So you think for him it's big shots versus the volume of Kopylov?
Yes, and I don't think Kopylov is going to stay there and trade kickbox for kickbox against Caesar. And I think he's going to touch and move. And remember, Kopylov is really getting tired when people are grappling him. Caesar's not going to grapple him. If he does, he's not going to get anywhere.
I just can't wait for this fight to watch it in general.
Yeah.
It's going to be a beautiful fight.
Yep. So, I mean, Kopylov's takedown defense is really good these days. I mean, Fluffy, but even Fluffy didn't even really wrestle and take him down. Kopylov almost like tripped, and then he jumped on him, and it was like,
why is that even a discussion? It's not, Caesar's not going to do that.
No, that's what I mean. I'm just saying like that's really how he got taken down, but he defended all the takedowns early. Puna wasn't able to take him down. He took Puna down. I could actually see Kopylov taking Caesar down easily, and then just taking him down out in the open and just ground and pounding. And winning that way and stealing some rounds.
Definitely could. I couldn't believe Budka gassed the way that he did.
Yeah.
That's his whole game.
Yep.
So I could absolutely see
I don't think Kopylov is going to gas. I think he's just more experienced than like a Budka type. But I think just the speed, he's not so much younger than him, but Caesar's older. He doesn't have the experience in the cage getting up. What I love about, first of all, Caesar's the nicest guy ever. I love the guy. He stays really calm. People are on him. He's just calm and cool, collected, just doesn't ever get phased. But I think the speed and the youth and the range of Kopylov is going to win this.
Okay, interesting. I can be swayed. I can get off my bet.
All right, we got Randy Brown and Elizu Zaleski dos Santos. Dos Santos is plus 142. Randy Brown is minus 162. I love Brown here.
Wow.
Yeah, I love Brown here. And I'll tell you why. Zaleski is beating up grapplers who he's defending the takedowns against and then just causing chaos in those scenarios. I don't think Zaleski is going to offensively grapple. And then if you watch him, his striking is very, he does wing some kicks, but he is all big right hand, big left hand, swinging for the fences type of stuff. Brown is just calm and uses his range well. He's right down the middle. If Brown was a grappler, I would say, man, Zaleski all day long. But I mean, his last, 3 fights are wrestlers trying to take him down for near death. And then he just defends, and then beats him up. And he's great at doing that. But against a tall, rangy Brown who's not going to close the distance, who's going to keep his range, who eats a million calf kicks and is somehow not overly bothered with
ever.
Him. And he just switches stances and moves and he just does it well. He's an adept grappler. He's tall. He's hard to take down. I just think him in his hometown, in the range and the straight punches and the style of fighter that Zaleski is, I like Brown here.
It's interesting. I think for the majority of this betting aspect, I was probably going to pass on this fight. Maybe I need to go back in and redo. I think the early numbers on Zaleski were really good. And here's the reason why. Randy Brown fought.
Wait, last thing, Zaleski's now 37.
I get that. But
So,
with USADA being gone and all that stuff, that's a thing.
age is just a number at this point.
No, seriously, it really is just a number. It's not like Zaleski's looked horrible in his last fights. Like he's looked amazing. He's looked amazing. Every time you're like, man, you have a good opportunity for a dog shot here. I'll just never unsee. I watched Randy Brown fight live against Chaos Williams in Phoenix. I'll never unsee the way that Chaos was tagging him and how bad Chaos is striking. And he was cracking Randy. And that was a tight, really, really close fight. And I rate Zaleski striking way, way, way higher than Chaos Williams.
Well, and that's the whole point is Chaos. We talk about it all the time. Those awkward people who just come in and swinging, but Zaleski is a little bit more controlled, and I don't think he's going to be in his face. He's going to try and find his shots a little bit more.
I think in that fight, what happened is Randy overextended a lot. He would get too close on his jabs and straight punches.
Leg.
Yeah, and then he would get countered. And I think if Zaleski lands on him, like he can really, really, really hurt him. So I liked the early numbers on Zaleski. I think that was a great, great play. Now that the line's tightened, what is the line now?
-162 Brown. Zaleski's +142.
Oh yeah, that's right in my wheelhouse, right in my range to play Brown now. I totally get the arguments for Zaleski. Like it makes complete sense to me. It's not like I'm standing on one or side or the other. I do like the youth, the speed advantage, the jab is just beautiful. But I don't know why Randy Brown's never been like a guy for me that's like, this is the future of it. Maybe he's coming into his own now, but I'll go Randy Brown as the winner, but I don't love that play.
Okay. We've got Roman Kopylov at +102. Oh, geez, I'm an idiot. We have Alexander Romanov at +215 and Jailton Jr. Almeida at -255.
Yeah, I mean, what's there to say about this fight? This one's a pretty binary fight. You don't need to listen to some YouTubers to break down this one. I like Jailton. I like Jailton a lot. A lot of people pointed to his Contender Series fight and were like, yeah, that was a horrible look. And I was thinking kind of the opposite. I'm like, no, that was a good look. He does get taken down and then he got back up and out wrestled the Dag. I thought that was a great look for him. I don't see it going any different here. Romanov striking can be powerful, but I don't think he puts enough stuff together to like really hurt Jailton. Blades really didn't until the hammer fist or whatever on the cage. Jailton seems to be on some really good vitamins, a lot better than Romanov. Like Romanov is fat as hell. Watching him go with Dawkins in the grappling match, I was heavy on Dawkins, and that's crazy. And he was gassing, but somehow fought his way through it. And I can't remember. There was one lucky break where he ended up staying in the match. Now you're going to get this roided up Brazilian that's got good jiu-jitsu, good top game. I don't think his striking is as bad as some people think, and he uses it to wrestle. I think this is probably lined correctly. If you're going to give the equity already round 3 to Jailton, you got to really hope he out-grapples him round 1 and the majority of round 2 and does enough damage without depleting his entire gas tank. And Jailton moves well. So I like Jailton. I don't know if I'll get to a play here, but I like Jailton here.
Yeah, I don't even know that Romanov wins round 1. Like, I mean,
that's what I'm saying. I don't.
Yeah, like Jailton, I think is gonna stand outside and kick. I think Jailton, just in a kickboxing fight, I think I would give Jailton the slight nod, and kick and move, and he's just a little more athletic and a little faster. His cardio is better. My only worry about this is Romanov goes full smash in round 1 and is going nuts, and Jailton's shoulder dislocates or trips
like
weird.
That.
You know what I mean? Just like a weird, like crazy, like, oh, okay, we're done here. The fight didn't get going and it stopped. But I think worst case scenario, Romanov goes full smash for a round, and then Jailton
takes over.
Yeah, takes over and gets it done. So I like Jailton here. I think he'll probably end up getting the finish too. I could see
100%. Yeah,
I could see him TKOing Romanov in the 3rd round after.
If you're just purely playing narratives, like Romanov at one point was considered the guy, right? They gave him Chase Sherman. They gave him these guys, Juan Espino, who was 40 at the time. And he kind of has come up short time and time again. And I think the general narrative is like, okay, Jailton just lost. Let's get Jailton back on track.
They wanted Jailton. They expected Jailton to beat Curtis Blades. They were putting him in title shot. these guys are on the different trajectory.
Yeah, so here's how we get him back.
Yeah. Jailton was on a championship trajectory. Romanov was, and then he just derailed it enough. So they're like, all right, we're kind of feeding you to Jailton. And if he wins, then okay, we'll put you back on the trajectory. But
I don't think he can win. Take the free money here.
Who's up? Michael Oleksiejczuk.
You do love Shake Shack.
I do. Plus 230. Kevin Holland minus 270. I think this is a good spot for Holland. I think stylistically, first of all, Holland has a granite chin. He's a good fighter. He just fucks around so much. Like, if he would just not fuck around, he'd be minus 2,000 here. But you're like, man, well, we don't know if he's gonna fucking pull guard and tap out of humor. Like, you just don't know. And Shake Shack moves well, crowds the space. He's got good boxing in there. But Kevin Holland's a good boxer as well. And Kevin Holland can fight in close. He fights at range. He mixes it up. Honestly, the only way I see Michel winning this fight is if he's just pushing Holland to the cage and Holland's just dicking around enough to not get off and not be paying attention to time. And Shake Shack is just there punching him and grinding him out on the clock. And Holland just doesn't have a sense of urgency. So I think he's faster. I think Holland is a good fighter. I think his jiu-jitsu is good. He's just a fucking idiot when it comes time to, and it's not even fight IQ. It's IQ.
Yeah.
Because I think if he actually wanted to win these fights, I think he could go win these fucking fights.
I think his takedown defense is way better than people give him credit for.
Yes, he's just good everywhere. He's just doing dumb shit for the sake of a laugh. And not a laugh to the general public. He's humoring himself in there. Like, he's not even.
How funny is it to get one check?
Right? So anyway, man, I like Holland. I hope he wins. I've probably told this a million times. He's Enzo's favorite fighter. He's the first fighter that he met outside of guys from the gym, and he talked to him for 10 minutes before he fought Santos, and just hanging out with him. I saw him at the PI pretty recently, and he's such a nice guy. He's a good dude, but fuck, man, just take your head out of your ass and go win a fight.
I'm a big Lord Michael lover too, but I think this is a bad spot for him. Holland is just so dynamic and athletic and has all the raw gifts. And again, but I think he's probably not going to be afforded the opportunity to mess around in this fight just because of how Michael fights. He's going to be in his face, swinging on him, and he's going to give Kevin no other option than to fire back on him. So yeah, I get it. The price is wide and all that stuff, considering all that stuff. But if you were guaranteed, hey, this guy is focused, he's going to go for the win early, you wouldn't have an issue with this price. So yeah, I like Holland here.
The other thing is Holland has good cardio. I don't know if he actually does have good cardio, if he's just so damn calm that he has good cardio, but he's never death gassed. He's
got all the tools.
Right.
Everything's at his disposal.
Yep. What up? Oh, Paulo Costa, Sean Strickland. Co-main event time brought to you by FightChalk.com. All the odds, all the tape study, all the pros picks. Go there, do it. This is a fight that I don't know what I think. And I'll tell you why. I said it earlier, is I don't know what version of Sean Strickland is going to show up. And you look at Paulo, and sometimes when people are busy with him and they give him a lot to look at, he doesn't really know what to do. And we saw that with Robert Whittaker is just amazing. One thing Kelvin Gastelum said is, we were asking him who's the best guy you fought? He was like, Robert Whittaker by far. He's like, that guy. He goes, I had no idea what he was going to do at any point. He's like, he was so fucking good. And so Robert Whittaker, people don't, the beauty of this, man, watch this fucking guy fight. He is so good. It's unreal. So he's throwing hands. Of course, he's throwing kicks, but he's just in and out and feint. Okay, I'm coming in. Nope, I'm going away. Up, there's a jab. Okay, I'm going to jab you again. Nope, kidding. You just don't know what he's doing, and he's always mixing it up and keeping people on their toes. And a lot of fights are really close with Whittaker, but I think that's only because Whittaker allows them to be close, and he's such a technician. It's what we talk about with the Basharat brothers, is they're so good, but if they would just go for the finish, they probably would get the finish or dominate, but they're just so technical, it's almost a detriment. That's what I look at with Robert Whittaker, but man, you look at Paulo with him. Paulo had some good moments. He had the high kick, left high kick, the spinning kick. Paulo's down to fight, and he's actually pretty good everywhere. And he's one of those guys, not quite Duplessis status, but he fades, but will just push through it.
Yeah.
Like Paulo really does everything well, but when you do a lot, like he wants to throw bombs, and when you don't give him that, he doesn't. It's hard for him. We saw that with the Whitaker fight, but then we saw it with the Cannonier fight as well, where there was just a lot was being thrown at him, and you could just see Paulo not like, hey, we're supposed to just stand here and bang. And you saw that with Rockhold, and we saw, Rockhold is a shell of himself. But so you see that a lot. You see that with Vettori. He's throwing, then he's wrestling, then he's coming a lot. With Strickland, though, and here's the thing is like Strickland's only going to do one thing, and that's box.
Yeah.
Yep, jab, 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 box.
Not even box, literally just jab.
Just jab.
It's unfortunate. But
the thing with Strickland is that is he going forward trying to press like he did in the Imavov fight and the Abus fight? Like, let's go. I need to break this dude. And if he does that, I think he could beat Paulo. But then we see him in some of these other fights, again, the Cannonier. Go back and watch the Cannonier fight. He's just sitting back and not doing a lot. And then you've got both guys kind of don't handle punches well in the sense of they both have good chins. But when you throw at both of them, they both kind of reach away with their hands out. So then it's just a lot of optics. And then, okay, so Paulo's kicking over there, and he's going to land a lot and make Sean move. And then Sean's throwing a lot of jabs, and Paulo's going to move a lot. I honestly... I really don't even know where to go with this one. And I've gone back and forth quite a bit. I lean Paulo because I think the moments are going to be the bigger moments. But then it's a 5-round fight. And that really is like, man, the smothering pressure of Sean. But again, sometimes he doesn't even use the smothering pressure.
Yeah.
And so you don't know. And that's my point. I kind of lean Paulo here. Fuck if I know.
No, I'm totally on board with you because the frustrating part with Strickland's game, I think I was kind of talking about this. There's a fight coming up. It just got announced. It's maybe the reason you're going to Perth. And I was talking about the person's game. And I said, that's the worst game for modern MMA. Wrestling with no ground and pound and no submissions. It's just wrestle to get on top, get tired, you stand back up, lose a round. Well, I think Sean Strickland's, his game is becoming that style, but for striking. Like, how little are these judges valuing just walking someone down and not taking damage, but just jabbing? They're not valuing it at all. And honestly, like, why would we? I've bet Sean Strickland in every single fight that he's had. DDP, Cannonier.
And I thought he won the DDP fight. I thought it was close.
Yeah, but
I don't think it was a robbery.
We thought that with every fight. Even the Cannonier fight, you're like, oh, he won clearly. The announcers thought he won. Everybody thought he won. But I've had huge tickets on Strickland in every one of those fights, like massive paydays on the line. And I'm watching it going, I hear the announcers saying he's winning, and I don't know that he actually is winning because all he's doing is walking forward and jabbing. Like, literally, when he does throw a 3-punch combo, it's nice. Like, it looks violent. It looks scary. But now he's kind of at this stage where he just jabbing.
High guard jab. He doesn't kick. And he's kickable. And Paulo will kick.
Yeah. And so, like you said, all DDP had to do was just like fill the space. DDP didn't crack him with anything crazy. He didn't, rock him or do anything. He just filled the space. And Paulo could easily do that. Paulo can hold his ground and just swing on him and just fill that space with more than a jab. And the judges could easily give him rounds. So for me, the way to play this is Paulo pre. And then as the rounds keep kind of going on, now you can start to work into a Sean Strickland bet. But yeah, that jab and do nothing game is getting really, really frustrating. And it's frustrating for me because I know Strickland could break guys, but he doesn't throw anything at all.
He can kick. He can actually wrestle. He has good jiu-jitsu. He's actually very good everywhere. And he just fell in this jab mold that he can't get out of.
It's crazy. Yeah. So I would go Paulo pre. As far as an actual winner, I think Sean will probably win this fight. But betting wise, I would take Paulo pre and then work your way in.
Okay. We've got a main event. Islam Makhachev, Dustin Poirier. Dustin is plus 460. Islam is minus 635. Honestly, I think that's probably a generous lining.
Okay. All right. That's the end of the show, guys. Thanks for tuning in.
Well, I don't know that Poirier is really... Look, Poirier has done a lot. and he's great. He is not like he lost to Gaethje. Then I mean he beat Benoit Saint Denis, and now he gets a title shot.
It's a good win.
It is a good win, but it's not a win.
Dude did have staff though.
Yeah, it just isn't a win that should warrant you a title shot. And man, Islam, I think as long as he doesn't strike, he's good.
I think even if he does strike, he'll be fine.
Well, I think maybe so, but man, Poirier has a good hook. He has good body work, but he has horrible takedown defense. So why wouldn't Islam just move a little bit on the outside, blast some middle kicks, wrestle him, and just put him on his back and Khabib him? I mean, we saw that he's going to jump guillotine. He does, and not only does he not have great wrestling defense, he doesn't get up a lot well.
No.
He'll play off of his back, and I think Islam is just going to maul him.
Oh, I'm totally with you. You know, and we were pretty big on the BSD train, but it's funny, before that, I wasn't big on BSD at all. It's like, oh, his time's coming. And still, even watching that fight, and if they ran it back, I would choose BSD 100 more times over. Literally, this is the one time out of any time he literally had a giant staff right on the middle of his forehead. Like there was
Islam's not going to guess.
He's not going to, but that staff, that's a major thing. Like,
Yeah.
and it played out exactly how we thought. Is he took him down, was beating his ass, and then he got tired and just stuck his chin out there. And Islam is not going to gas. You're right. I just think, you know, prior to that fight, we were talking about, man, Poirier looks checked out.
Yeah.
He doesn't really want to be there. He's eating big shots, like, you know, whatever.
He's even talked about it on this fight, like whether, like,
win or lose.
Yeah, win or lose, he might be done. He just doesn't know. He wants to spend time with his family. It's like, man, you start talking like that, like just
you're giving yourself an excuse to lose. Yeah. I think it's Islam inside the distance. Everyone's going submission. I actually think it could be a knockout, positional knockout.
TKO.
Yeah,
gets him down, just beats on him right there.
That's what I think. That's where the curveball is going to come in.
No, I like that. I like that a lot. That there is a show, people.
Sorry we were late. I'm heartbroken. So if you're single and you have big boobs, you know where to DM me.
And are very rich.
Very rich. I'm done working.
DM Brandon.